This video is about string data type in Python. The traditional hello world is a string. It's the first built-in data type that welcomes new developers. String data type is used to store text data. In this video, we will touch the basic information about strings. You will find out the rest as you work through this series. What are they used for? Well, you deal with them all the time. Strings are literally everywhere. Your comments under this video, your email address and phone number and names and surnames, posts and hashtags, titles of videos and so on. They are all strings. To create a string object, you need to enclose some phrase or word or absolutely any set of characters in quotes. Double or single quotes. For example, quotes are a string literal, that is a special Python syntax that creates a string object in memory. It doesn't matter which quotes, single or double, you use, but you must use them consistently. That is, opening and closing quotes must be the same type, either double or single. If you try to use quotes non-consistently, for example, you will get an error message or exception like we got last time. Syntax error, end of line, while scanning string literal. And with an error, Python tells me where my error is. You can also use quotes inside the string, and in this case, the inner quotes must be of a different type. For example, hello world. Or the inner quotes can be escaped with backslashes. Again, hello backslash quotes world backslash quote and closing quote. But such expressions is more difficult to read. Earlier I said that literals create corresponding objects in your computer's memory that store the value and the operations associated with the object. How can you verify that the object was actually created? This can be verified, for example, with the ID function, which returns a unique ID of an object. And we got the ID of the string object A. Now let's create a string object using double quotes and pass it to the ID function in the same way. So ID double quotes A, and I got the same ID. This case tells us that the Python interpreter did not create another object with the same value A, but simply returned the ID of the already created object. So if I create a new string object, let's say B, and its ID is a different one, it means that Python created two different objects, one with the A value and another with the B value. Also, in the previous video and just a minute ago, I mentioned that objects created in memory store not only values but also the behavior or operations associated with it. To find out what operations we can perform with this or that data type, you need to use the dir function. And I get a list of names of its attributes, of its properties and methods, or operations that we can perform with the string. Each data type has its own set of methods and properties. Let's check it. If we will pass the 1 to the dir function as a number, without quotes, we will get one set of attributes. This section. If we pass the 1 as a string to the dir function between quotes, we will get a completely different set of attributes. Integer has numerator, real, 2 bytes, denominator, from bytes, etc. String has strip, swap case, title, translate, upper, z-fill, etc. It's because in the first case the 1 is an integer, and in the second case the 1 is a string. And thus, as I said, different data types have different ways of using them. One of the main operations with the strings is the concatenation, or we can say that is the operation of appending one string to another. To concatenate strings, we use the plus character. And there can be an infinite number of operands, for example. It's a quite frequent operation, so you will have to deal with it constantly. And again, the same addition operator plus performs different actions on different data types. For example, 1 plus 1 will be 2. And 1 as a string plus 1 as a string will be 11 as a string. Strings do not have subtraction or division operations, but they have multiplication operation. Similar to numbers, multiplication here means the operation of addition, concatenation, repeated a number of times. For example, a star multiplied by 10. And I've got 10 stars. Or ten hello worlds. Another important property of strings is their length. To find out the length of a string, you need to pass a string into the len function, short for length. Len hello world. 11 characters. It's a length of the string hello world. By the way, spaces are also characters, so they are also taken into account. Also, the length of empty string is 0, and the length of a string with only one space character is 1. The main work with strings is to use the methods. Methods are functions that belong to a specific class or data type. In Python, by the way, all data types are implemented through classes. Before this moment, we used 5 functions: print, type, dir, id, and len. And these are, so to speak, independent functions. That is, they are not attributes of any class. So we just wrote the name and passed arguments into them for processing. Methods are also functions, but unlike functions, methods are attributes of a specific class. That is, methods do not exist outside his class and objects of his class. In practice, this means that in order to call a method, we first refer to a specific instance of a class, an object. Hello, for example. Then I put a period. After that, we have to specify the name of the method, for example, title. And after the method name, we write parentheses. Parentheses indicate a method call. To call a method or a function means to execute the code that it contains. We will analyze this later. I just used the title method of the hello string. Let's try something else. Let's take again the hello world string. This is, as you know, an instance of the string class or a string object. And let's look at its attributes using the dir function. Dir hello world. I would highlight only 5 methods so far. The strip, the lower, the upper, the title, and capitalize. But let's use the upper method for now, which converts the string to uppercase. That is, makes all the letters in the string capitalized. Hello world. Then I call the upper method and got the hello world in uppercase. The lower method converts a string to a lowercase. An important and useful method strip. It clears the string of space characters, stops, carriage returns to another line, etc. For example, quite a common case, you enter the password correctly when logging into a website, but it doesn't work due to the fact that there is a space character in front or behind. You can clear the strings by calling the strip methods. For example, passwords, many spaces, and strip. And I get the password string without trailing spaces. In the same way, you can pass an argument to the strip method, which will explicitly tell it which character to get rid of. For example, let's add semicolon to a string hello world. I'm calling the strip method and passing into it the string semicolon. And I got rid of this semicolon. By the way, if you'd like to get a real experience of Python development, I made a practical Python web scraping course where string methods are used a lot. The link to the course will be in the description to the video. In the next video we will talk about numbers and about operations with them. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.